What's going on, everybody? I'm Bradford Eldorado, and what we have today is another win, kind of, for the $100 PC flip up challenge. So we did sell the first PC for $200, so we actually made $100 off of our initial 100 that we started with, obviously. And what I have behind me is a $50, hopefully not a flop. So this is a PC that has been sitting in a house. The guy said he has not powered it on since 2017. It is not a good PC as far as the parts go, but honestly, we're going to try to flip this thing and see what we can get into. The unfortunate thing is it seems like this thing hasn't been blown out since 2017 either. So honestly, this thing is absolutely disgusting. As you'll see, there's dirt caked up anywhere and everywhere. It honestly looks like this thing was dug up from an archaeologist site because the parts inside of it are prehistoric as well. So it does have an FX CPU in it, and it does have an older AMD R7 200 series GPU in it. Really nothing to write home about, but honestly, this thing might end up turning around and making us a few bucks. So for $50, we ended up getting this thing. It has I think it has a 750 gig hard drive. Has a few red fans, but we do have a few things to look at prior to starting. So whenever I first picked it up, he said he hasn't used it in a long time. A buddy recommended it for him, and honestly, as soon as I looked at it, I saw that the CPU cooler was hanging from one of the mounts, so it wasn't even secured down. Upon further investigation, I noticed that the lower mount had actually broke off. He did say that whenever he ended up having it, it was always hot, so I would assume this is why he stopped using it. But honestly, I think I have a couple of these mounts just on older PCs that I've swapped out coolers, and like I said, we'll see what we can do to fix that and see what kind of performance we end up having for this thing. And then this video is actually going to be the flipping montage of taking this $50 PC and hopefully turning around and being able to take the extra $150 and potentially add stuff to it, or just take the $50 PC and turn around and maybe sell it for 100 or 150 bucks to end up adding to our pile of cash that we have so far. So that's what the plan is. That's what we're going to end up doing. Hopefully this will be a flip and not a flop, but I appreciate you being here. I'm going to go ahead and get to it. So everything's running just fine. We didn't have any issues getting into the computer. Like I said, I'm going to end up tearing this whole thing apart. I'm not too concerned with getting before and after benchmark numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, like I said, wipe this drive. I'm also going to end up putting an SSD in it because that's one of the best things, in my opinion, that you can do with anything like this. Another thing that I have considered is trying to find a cheap GPU, possibly a used one that is just 4 gig, and I have in the past also found these FX CPUs like the 8350s that are really cheap on eBay, and I've never had any issues with getting those, and basically end up boosting the performance of this thing to a really playable gaming experience for any of the modern titles today. So like I said, let's shop around, we'll see what we got, and I will end up tearing this whole thing down and getting it ready to clean. because honestly, I don't want to start blowing all this stuff while I'm inside my house. So just gonna end up doing a quick, use my air duster and get the majority of everything off. Then I'll end up going inside and using a spray and actually spraying down a lot of the motherboard and all those items to where I can end up getting the rest of the dirt off of it and wiping everything down. So what I wanted to do first is actually take this CPU cooler and take this fan off and show you just how bad the dust and stuff is caked up inside of this. So let's check this out. Alright, so like I said, I'm not going to be doing any of this inside of my actual house. I'll do it in my garage, but as you can see, I also have a respirator because anytime you're dealing with anything like this, you really don't want to be breathing any of this type of excessive dust and whatnot. But also you have to remember, if your computer's not blown out, this is what is right next to you as you're gaming, as you're doing anything on your computer. This is the type of stuff that not only one causes high computer temps, CPU and GPU temps, but you also got to think of your health that you're also putting at risk. So you definitely don't want this Furby of a CPU cooler right next to you. So definitely want to clean that stuff out. Alright, so as you can see, I've got everything behind me from the PC after I've blown everything out and just tried to get the majority of the dust off of it. What I'm going to end up doing is taking some quick disconnect cleaner. It is a spray that is non-conductive and is really good for just cleaning parts, whether it's circuit boards, GPUs, anything along those lines. So I'm going to end up going over doing a quick clean down. Hopefully we can get this thing assembled, get it put together, get it put on Facebook Marketplace, and have some luck with turning around and flipping this thing. So let's get to it. All right, so as you can see, everything's running just fine. We don't have any issues with it running, but whenever I tried to pull up any type of game, that 4300 FX CPU and that R7 200 series was not up to standard for any type of gaming or performance in general. So what I actually did find was, and I found this locally for $40, was a EVGA 1050 Ti. This thing is going to work great in this, but I'm also afraid that it's going to potentially bottleneck the CPU. So I do have an FX 8350 CPU on the way. I found it for 30 bucks on eBay, and buy it now. It's shipping soon, so honestly it shouldn't take but a day or two to get this stuff wrapped up, and we'll end up seeing how this thing performs. Unfortunately, the video is getting a little bit long, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up now. I'm going to show you some B-roll footage of this computer. It looks great, to be honest, because honestly it just cleaned up nice. The red lights look good. It is a little bit of an older case, but everything's performing great as far as being a $50 computer. So what I'm going to end up doing is, like I said, showing you a few shots of it all cleaned up. And then what we'll end up doing on the next episode is I will end up getting this computer fixed up, ready to go. Hopefully we'll have it sold by the time I make the next video, and then we'll see what we can end up rolling it into, because I do have a couple leads on a couple other computers that are kind of halfway built or had parts removed from them, so it wouldn't take much to just turn around and add to it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm going to end up finishing this thing up, and like I said, we'll get this thing wrapped up, get some numbers for you on the next episode. I appreciate it. Hopefully you have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by. Catch you next time.